Now that we're asking questions about everything and it's revealing the cracks and everything, we have no faith in a single system. No faith in government. I have no faith where my taxes go. I don't know what the military industrial complex is doing with the money. I thought all the money was going to Ukraine until last month. Now I realize it's staying here. It's going to Raytheon. How is it I'm 40 years old and I'm learning that everything I know is false every day?
Andrew Schultz is finally catching up to what we've been saying this whole time. On the latest episode of Flagrant, he had an epiphany about all of his epiphanies. It was almost a beautiful moment where he realized that he's been late to the party on almost everything. Oh, and he's been taking way too much Adderall.
So here's the thing. I've taken Adderall, right?
Love it.
Love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It still just makes me want to party. Like people are like, I want to do homework. And I'm like, have you partied on it? Because when I take it, I'm like, we need to party. Like we need to go to a Blondish show and I need to hear some techno.
It does. It does.
Oh my God.
Okay, hold up. Let's take a few steps back. Let me explain exactly what's going on here. If you haven't noticed, Andy and the Toy Story boys are finding it harder and harder to get good guests onto Flagrant. That's why we've been getting more and more of these home team podcasts to take from PBD. And so they've realized that if they're going to do it alone, they need to have stuff to talk about. And we know how much Schultz and his boy band like to tackle current events. But here's the thing, there's a lot going on at the moment and Andrew finally realized just how hard it is to stay well informed enough that he can discuss these current events with confidence. So they come up with a plan. Because there's so much to cover, why don't we split up the different topics between us and that way we can all present our findings on the podcast. Kind of like a high school group project, except they're not in high school and they're meant to be comedians. Anyway, Schultz's topic was Donald Trump's first criminal trial, which started this week. So let's see what he came up with.
I looked into this story to understand this story.
Yeah.
After reading, and not only reading, talking it through with someone who has legal expertise, after trying to get to the bottom of it, I realized there's no hope. There's no hope. There is no hope for information ever again. There's no hope. Okay. First of all, I'm going to go through each one of you and just ask you if you know what the trial's about. Do you know what it's about?
The hush money payment.
For Stormy Daniels. Okay, so first of all, we all know the guy who's probably going to be president is going to trial in our city. You have no fucking clue. There's no hope. No, it's okay. Nobody knows. We all don't know.
Okay, I just unlocked a new fear. Being assigned to a group project with Andrew Schultz. His biggest takeaway was that there's too much detail to get across in a short amount of time. Who knew that the legal system could be so complicated? And so I've put together an edit for you guys of Schultz explaining the Trump case, which ends up leading to, you guessed it, another Schultz epiphany.
I'm looking into this fucking Trump thing, okay? Stormy Daniels, I know, okay? This is what I thought it was going into it, because I just read headlines and I'm a fucking doofus, right? I go, okay, he took money from the campaign funds and then paid it. That's what I thought, right? Because I'm an idiot, right? Not even what it's about. Okay. Apparently, and I'm going to have to take out my phone that has notes on it to get through this, I'm sure, but I'll try to do it without. Okay, apparently, he pays Michael Cohen, who was his personal attorney, $130,000. Michael Cohen sets up a shell company to create separation between Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels. The shell company pays Stormy Daniels $130,000. That is hush money. That's, hey, be quiet about, whatever the happened. Don't say some shit, okay? It is a misdemeanor to falsify your business records. In other words, say that you paid for one thing when it was really for another. Trump said in his records he paid $130,000 for legal services to Michael Cohen. Mm-hmm. The $130,000 from the shell company that Michael Cohen set up went to Stormy Daniels, which would imply that he was falsifying his records. Now, that's just a misdemeanor. People falsify their business records all the time. It is quite common practice. Maybe people are writing off a meal here and there that's not exactly a business meal. They're writing on. There's falsifications all the time. This happens all the time. Okay. In order for it to become a felony, you have to falsify your records. There's a couple options where it can be felony. Falsify your records with the hope to conspire to gain office. So if they can prove that he had falsified his records in hopes to benefit him for running for office, this is, I think, a New York law specifically, I don't know if it's available in other states, then you can go, okay, Now it's a felony, and once it's a felony, now we can put 5 years in prison or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there.
Okay, I gotta say that Schultz actually did a half-decent job of understanding the case, but the question I had throughout this whole episode was, why don't you just get a legal expert on to explain the case properly? You know that lawyer that you spoke to who explained it to you? Why don't you get them on? You have one of the biggest podcasts in the world. If you're so interested in all of this stuff, do what your Papa Rogan does, book an expert in to come on the show. But about that epiphany, so whatever you think about Donald Trump, you can't deny that Attorney General of New York Letitia James and DA Alvin Bragg have had a massive hard-on for Trump since day one. They're both card-carrying Democrats who are trying to climb the political ladder, and prosecuting Trump is a massive opportunity for them to make a name for themselves. When it comes to high-profile public figures like Donald Trump, almost all of them have skeletons in their closets. Take anyone, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis. If you dig deep enough into their pasts, you are guaranteed to find something illegal. Nobody gets to high office without skeletons. Everyone knows that, right? Well, except for Schultz. He's a little bit slow. He only just figured all of this out this week.
Yeah.
So the DA hasn't even said which one it's going to be. He's like, we got something that's a felony. I don't got to tell you, but we got something. Is it illegal? Sure. It's going to make me vote for him. That's my take. If researching this and seeing the fucking, and you don't think that there's at least a little bit of a witch hunt, a little bit of a witch hunt. We're talking about New York City.
Yeah.
You can't pay a bitch to shut the fuck up. Like, you can't pay her from your lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, what? How are we supposed to pay him, Alex?
So I agree with Schultz about it being a witch hunt. After all these years, all of a sudden, some $130,000 payment requires this level of time, public money, and public resources to get to the bottom of. These political hacks would love nothing more than for Trump to run for president from behind bars. And it's the same rhetoric we saw from Trump with Hillary Clinton and the whole lock her up saga. Also, don't forget that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden definitely have something to answer for in court about the 10% payments to the big guy, not to mention all the politicians on both sides in Washington, D.C. who have made millions of dollars over the years through insider trading. So, like I said, all of these lawsuits are political in some way. It all comes down to which party has their own puppets in office at any one time. Donald Trump has the Supreme Court stacked in his favor, so the Dems have to attack him at the state level. Anyway, all of this led to Schultz realizing that it's almost impossible to stay across all of these issues and still live the life of a YouTube comedian.
What I'm trying to say is, it's not your fault for not knowing this. Like, I get it. It's really not. It's everything is so, the amount of work that it took to just barely understand and still get it wrong, this topic, that's every topic.
Yeah.
That's everything. The amount of work you had to do last night to just barely scratch the surface of Iran and Israel, not even talking about Israel and Palestine, just nobody, no human being could understand all of this stuff and have friends, a family, children, a job. It is what I'm trying to get at after all this is, I completely get why people just go, fuck the truth. I'm picking a side. Feed me the talking points.
The one time Schultz had to do actual research and become knowledgeable about something, he realized just how hard it really is. And he kept going on and on and on about it, to the point that even his buddies were laughing at him for how ridiculous he sounded.
It's impossible. It's literally impossible.
Yeah.
Like, imagine you work 80 hours a week. Imagine you work 80 hours a week and you want to have, you can't, the truth is too hard. You have a family.
And then I got to tell them what to think? Tell me what to think so I can tell them what to think.
Think about how easy it was. Nazis, bad.
Great. Love it.
Americans, good.
Love it.
I'm informed. Now everybody's bad. Everybody's bad now. Everybody's bad. Everybody's a little bad. Everybody's a little good. It is impossible to understand every issue and still be like a decent human being with friends and like enjoy basketball.
So at this point, Schultz was basically just shouting at everyone. He'd clearly taken too many addies and the epiphanies just kept rolling out. He got onto the topic of the pandemic and he shared with everybody his realization that it was harder for poor people compared to rich people. This was some Bert Kreischer level cringe.
That's the other thing. Even the vaccines. Like,
I thought we're not cutting anything else out.
We're not cutting it. Even the vaccines, I have every reason, even when I was talking to Joe, I have every reason to believe that we should ask questions about the vaccines and research it, and we should. We should. I want to do that. But I don't have any concrete proof of the bad shit. And I don't have any concrete proof of another alternative. So you're in this middle ground where it's like you have all the anxiety and none of the confirmation.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who probably feel that, but they don't have the money to lead the life of somebody who wants to be completely skeptical.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
You can't put your kid in a fucking daycare if they don't have it. And this religious exemption shit, they don't give a fuck.
Nope.
You want to put them in private school? The private school goes, yo, kick rocks. I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
These are the rules. So what? Only the rich don't get vaccinated?
You could have a coworker take the shots for you.
Say what? And even homeschool, like not everybody can afford to have a parent stay home. That's a luxury too.
Yeah.
You know, it is a
Daycare is expensive. Home care is
son crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, this reminded me so much of Bert, how they finally realized that they've been living in a bubble this whole time and that there were things they took for granted over the years that real people had to struggle with. It's also a major criticism of Rogan for me. If you actually added up how much money he spends on his body, from his private gym, sauna, ice baths, to all the supplements, TRT and HGH he takes, not to mention his heavy drinking and drug use, it's so far outside the realm of anything that the average person he's preaching to could afford. Yet he sits there every day telling everybody about his 4-hour morning routine that he does before hitting the studio for a podcast. Anyway, this is how Schultz got to his final eye-opening epiphany about why he's been having so many epiphanies lately.
Now that we're asking questions about everything and it's revealing the cracks in everything,
Yeah.
we have no faith in a single system.
Yeah.
No faith in government. I have no faith where my taxes go. I don't know what the military industrial complex is doing with the money. I thought all the money was going to Ukraine until last month. Now I realize it's staying here. It's going to Raytheon. How is it I'm 40 years old and I'm learning that everything I know is false every day? Give me rat beef. Thank God. Thank God, Kendrick. Kendrick and Drake don't even want to do this. Rick Ross don't even want to do this. They're doing it for us.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good we ask questions. It's good we challenge systems. That being said, there is a cost to it.
Yeah.
And the cost is the anxiety of not knowing anything.
Wow. You could even tell by the end of the podcast that his buddies had secondhand embarrassment. It reminded me of how Rogan was explaining to him the other week when he was on JRE about how there are all these guys that hang around successful comedians who think that they can be like them, but they've got to learn to stay in their lane. There's only one Andrew Schultz, right?
So here's the thing. I've taken Adderall, right?
Love it.
Love it. It's great.
Yeah.
It still just makes me want to party. Like people are like, I want to do homework. And I'm like, have you partied on it? Because when I take it, I'm like, we need to party. Like we need to go to a Blondish show and I need to hear some techno.
It depends on the setting that you're in.
So then let's do it. Let's do one day a week. Everybody news gets 1 day a week. And then we get on the Adderall and then we do 1 day a week. And then we have 6 other days to do, whatever we want. It's too much to understand each story. It's too much. It's too much. No, I'm telling you. This is why there's no news organization. This is why there's no news there's not one news organization out there that tells you the truth. Everyone is filtered through an opinion, right? CNN is this, Fox is that, Daily Wire is this, The Atlantic is that, The Guardian. Everybody has their filter, right? The New York Times, they have their filter, and you have to. Because to do the research, to tell people the truth every day on a topic, impossible. It's not humanly possible.
Sorry guys, I honestly can't take any more of this. He is so far gone at this point. It's a combination of fame, money, and too many zins and addies. It's clearly messed with his head to the point where he's completely delusional. I wonder what he would have thought of himself 5 years ago if he could look into the future to see what he would become. I used to love Flagrant 2, now it's just unwatchable. And can I just ask, who is watching Flagrant for Schultz's take on the Trump lawsuits and the Israel-Palestine conflict? I mean, there is so much that I had to leave out. They went into a deep analysis of Iran's bombing of Israeli targets, and they offered their strategic insights into how they think it'll all pan out. It's almost as bad as Tom and Bert's infomercial network called Two Bears, One Cave. I thought these were meant to be comedy podcasts. Where's the funny bit? Anyway, that's it from me. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about all of this. If you're not a regular of this channel yet, hit the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
This is my text from Mark last night at 3:45 a.m. Mark's job is to go research the Israel-Iran war. Mark at 3:45 a.m. text me, this Israel-Iran stuff runs deep.
It does. It does.
Oh my God.